This is Revelation 13:1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. All right, when we go into this, into linear on this verse, the beast, it says a beast. When you go into the outline biblical usage, it says metaphor, a brutal, bestial man, savage, ferocious, which is talking about the so-called white man, okay? And it's actually dealing with his beast system, okay? The 7 heads, 10 horns. America is the whore that rides the beast, all right? So when you go into Job 20, okay, Zephora, the heathen, all right, was talking shit about Job. All right, they were pretty much talking to each other because the chapter 19, verse 1, then Job answered and said, how long will ye vex my soul and break me in pieces with words? Who's vexing him? These heathen that he thought was his friends. Verse 29, be ye afraid of the sword, for wrath bringeth the punishments of the sword, that ye may know there is a judgment, which goes into the judgment of the wicked, which are the sword. Grab it. 2 Ezra 15. The sword is the so-called white man. Verse 5, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. The sword is the so-called white man. And what follows him is famine, death, and destruction, which this could be precept with Revelation 6. All right? And it says down in verse 14, woe to the world, because there's going to be a nuclear war, to them that dwell therein, for the sword, the so-called white man, and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. All right? So the sword's destruction is the nuclear destruction. The nuclear destruction was created for the devil, the so-called white man. All right? So that's when Zephora, all right, then answered Zephora the Namathite and said, therefore do my thoughts cause me to answer, and for make I make haste. And he actually says this to Job. Okay. It says, he has swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. Yahweh Shem Yoshai shall cast them out of his belly. All right, why? Because he's saying you were rich, but you lost all your wealth pretty much because the Lord punished you. When you go down to the last verse, it says, this is the portion of a wicked man from Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yoshai, and the heritage appointed unto him by Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yoshai. It says in verse 21, but Job answered and said, hear diligently my speech, and let this be your consolations. Suffer me that I may speak, and after that I have spoken, mock on. So he's telling him, keep mocking, keep talking your shit. As for me, is my complaint to man? No. Right? He's complaining to the Lord. How long, Lord, will these devils, right? Because what did Job say in 30? Job 30, verse 1. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision. Pretty much they're talking shit to me. They're mocking me. These Edomites, these heathen are fucking mocking me. Whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. And it goes into it. all right, about this devil, because the devil, the so-called white man, were cavemen, all right, between the time of the Babylonians to the Medes, all right, they were cave beasts, all right. It says, yea, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished, because they grow weak fast. Look at these movie stars; they'll be good looking young, but at like 35, they become fucking ugly and brittle. It says, for want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former time, desolate and waste. But you got to remember in Revelation 20, it talks about this also. It says, and I saw an angel come down from heaven having the key of the bottomless pit, which is Europe, having no minerals like America, which America is decked with minerals and gems and gold. Europe is not like that. That's why it's the bottomless pit. And a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, which pertains to Esau, which he was the dragon as the Roman Empire. And that old serpent, which he was the serpent in the Garden of Eden that beguiled Eve, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. All right, which he was a caveman, and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him, which it also happened in the Dark Ages. Okay, in the Dark Ages, he was a caveman, that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. After that, he must be loosed a little season. All right, so he was cast into the bottomless pit, which was pertaining to Europe, but he was also in the Caucasus Mountains in the Dark Ages. Okay, so Job was being vexed by the mocking of these Edomites, and the Lord was allowing it to happen so he could pretty much get a reality check. But in the same time was it prophesied that the Israelites shall receive the inheritance through the destruction of the heathen, starting with Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. The devil, the Bible speaks of, which he's going to burn in a lake of fire. All right? That's going to be the nuclear destruction of America. At the same time, we're going to be saved. Yahweh willing, I'm in that number. We're going to be taken up into the chariots and changed in the twinkling of an eye and allowed to come down and to gather the elite of the heathen that survived the destruction and put them in slavery. It tells you in Revelation 13, verse 10, it says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and spake as a dragon. So right when it goes in from this verse to 10 to 11, it goes right into talking about America. America is this beast in 11, and it has 2 horns like a lamb, which is the Republic and the Democrat. And he spake as a dragon, which he speaks with draconian law. All right, you got to remember he's in the image of ancient Rome, which Rome worked through a senate. Okay, all the kingdoms before that, including the Greeks, were a dynasty. They were a king that passed the crown down to their son. But Rome worked through a senate, a congress, okay, which America took that image on. All right, that's what it says. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him. So he operates just like Rome, in a senate, in a congress, all right, not in a dynasty, which they're all related. All the Edomites up there are related, but it's operating in that senate congress setup. and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, which they drop missiles every day. I'm going to jump down. Verse 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666, which goes back to the Greeks, which the Greeks were Edomites. All right? And what did they do to Jake? They used to brand us. And they had us in slavery. And that's what this implantable microchip is. It's the modern day branding to show that they own you. So if you receive that implantable microchip, you're worshiping the image of the beast, and you're going to be destroyed with the beast man, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, the wicked, which rules the world today. Yahushua, the true Messiah, as it is written, is going to come and save his faithful, his hopeful elect, and he's going to reward us with new bodies, and he's going to give us the rewards of all these heathen. They're going to actually bring it to us, all this gems, all this gold throughout all over the world, and we're going to be, I mean, come on. It tells you in Revelation 21. We'll go ahead and end it with this. All right? I'm going to jump down to the point, which it tells you from 19. I mean, the whole chapter is fire, but I want to just get to the point. It says in verse 24, and the nations of them which are saved, meaning they're allowed to live after the 1,000 years of slavery, which Esau will not be allowed that right. He's going to be exterminated. And the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it, because they're going to learn from us righteousness. And the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor unto it. So they're going to actually gather these precious stones that they actually are going to find and bring it to us. And the gates of it shall not be shut at all by day, for there shall be no night there. There shall be no evil, because Esau will be done away with. Isaiah 14:21. He has an expiration date. He has a death sentence after the 1,000 years of slavery. It says, and they shall bring the glory and honor of the nations into it. All right? How are they going to do that? They're going to find all these rubies and emeralds and gold and gather it and bring it to us, Jerusalem, to the Israelites, which are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians today. See? And America is of the finest gold, of the finest, that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants that American gold. Well, who's going to have it? It's going to be the Israelites. We're going to be the richest, and we're going to rule forever under Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, a kingdom of righteousness. All praises and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, B'Shem Ha Ruka Kodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which taught us the truth. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure to the end. Shalom.